The courtroom was supposed to be a place of truth, justice, and calm resolution. Instead, it felt more like the calm before a storm, one that no one in Port Charles was prepared to survive. Every bench was filled, every whisper echoed, and every heartbeat sounded louder than the last as all eyes remained locked on Willow. She sat there, hands folded, posture steady, but her eyes told a different story. They carried fear, hope, and something dangerously close to heartbreak. Across the room, glances were exchanged, tensions simmered, and grudges waited patiently for their moment to strike. This trial wasn't just about guilt or innocence anymore. It had become personal, deeply personal. The judge called the next testimony, and that's when the air shifted. A witness stepped forward, someone no one expected, someone whose presence alone caused murmurs to ripple through the room. Old wounds reopened instantly. A few people looked shocked, others looked terrified, and one person looked like they had just seen a ghost. As the questioning began, the testimony took a sharp, unexpected turn. Words were spoken that shouldn't have been said, names were dropped that had been buried for years, and suddenly the trial transformed into something far more dangerous than anyone anticipated. Willow's breath caught. Michael leaned forward. Someone in the back laughed nervously, clearly trying to hide panic, and that awkward laugh would later feel painfully inappropriate. Because in the blink of an eye, chaos erupted. A loud crash shattered the tense silence. Gasps filled the courtroom. People jumped to their feet. Someone screamed Willow's name, and before anyone could fully process what was happening, the first body hit the floor. Dead. No warning, no mercy. Panic spread like wildfire. Guards rushed forward, but confusion slowed them down. Chairs toppled, papers flew, and Willow, sweet, gentle Willow, froze in absolute horror as blood stained the courtroom floor. Michael tried to reach her, calling her name over and over, his voice cracking with fear. "Willow!" But before he could get close enough to touch her, another horrifying moment unfolded. A second collapse. Another body fell, and this time there was no doubt. 2 lives were gone. The courtroom that once held whispers and side eyes now held silence, heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by sobs and frantic footsteps. Willow's hands trembled as she stood, eyes wide, unable to tear her gaze away from the scene in front of her. She didn't scream, she didn't cry. She simply whispered Michael's name, like it was the only thing keeping her grounded in reality. Security finally regained control, ushering people out as paramedics rushed in, but the damage was already done. The trial was over, not because of a verdict, but because it had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Outside the courtroom, emotions exploded. Some people demanded answers, others demanded arrests, and a few looked far too relieved for comfort. Diane immediately went into protective mode, refusing to let Willow answer a single question. Michael wrapped his arms around Willow, holding her tightly, as if letting go might make her disappear. In that moment, amid flashing lights and rising accusations, their love became the quiet center of the storm. Willow finally broke down, burying her face in Michael's chest. "I never wanted this," she whispered, tears soaking into his suit. Michael kissed her hair gently and replied, half joking through his fear, "Next time we plan a date, let's avoid courtrooms, okay?" Despite everything, Willow let out a shaky laugh, because sometimes laughter is the only way to survive the unbearable. But behind that fragile moment of comfort, darker questions loomed. Were the deaths accidental or planned? Had someone come to court knowing blood would be spilled? And most chilling of all, was Willow the true target all along? As investigators began piecing together the events, shocking possibilities emerged. The first victim had enemies, lots of them. The second, someone who knew far too much and had recently threatened to talk. Coincidence? In Port Charles, coincidence rarely exists. Rumors spread faster than facts. Some believed the deaths were meant to silence the truth.
Others whispered about revenge disguised as tragedy, and a few couldn't stop wondering whether Willow's trial had been the perfect cover for something much more sinister. Willow herself struggled with crushing guilt. Even though none of it was her fault, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything revolved around her. Michael tried to reassure her, reminding her of who she was, kind, strong, incapable of harming anyone. But Willow wasn't sure anymore. That night, alone with her thoughts, she replayed every second in her mind. The sound of the fall, the look in that witness's eyes, the way the courtroom doors slammed shut like a final warning. Meanwhile, others weren't mourning at all. Somewhere in Port Charles, someone poured a drink, smiled, and believed their plan had worked perfectly. 2 deaths, 1 massive distraction, and a trial that would never reach its conclusion. Yet secrets have a way of refusing to stay buried. The aftermath promised consequences that would ripple through every relationship, every alliance, and every hidden agenda. Trust would be tested, love would be challenged, and Willow's life, already fragile, would never be the same again. Because once death walks into a courtroom, justice is no longer blind. It's watching, and it remembers everything. As the city tries to recover from the shock, one thing is certain: this wasn't the end of Willow's nightmare. It was only the beginning. And the next chapter promises even more twists, passion, danger, and moments that will leave hearts racing and jaws on the floor. Stay ready, because Port Charles never sleeps, and secrets always demand a price.